Jungkook sat on the edge of the bed, his fingers moving through Hannah's soft, dark hair. The room was quiet, save for the sound of his gentle hum as he softly caressing her hairs. Hannah laid still, her small body resting against Jungkook's chest, her small fingers clenched around the hem of his shirt. Her eyes closed with the warmth, protection and love. Jungkook, are you excited about tomorrow? He asked, continues caressing her hair, slowly and gently. The strands of her hair felt so delicate in his hands, like the most precious thing he could ever hold. Single quotes. Fingers tightened on the edge of Jungkook's shirt, which he feels. Her shoulders a little tense. I don't know, Oppa. I'm scared, she admitted quietly, her voice small and uncertain. Jungkook's heart softened at the sound of her vulnerability. He leaned down closer, brushing a strand of hair from her face and tucking it behind her ear. Jungkook, you don't have to be scared, Ina. You have me, he said, his voice steady and warm. Jungkook, you can tell me anything, and I'll take care of it. I'll always take care of you. Opening parenthesis he complete, and Ine looked up at him. Her eyes searched his face as if she were trying to understand the weight of his words. She nodded slowly, her small face softening. Ine. Okay, Oppa, she said, snuggle more in Jungkook's heart. Jungkook, good girl, he praised, his heart swelling with pride. Jungkook, and remember, if anyone gives you trouble, you tell them about your big brother. I'll be there in a heartbeat to make sure they never bother you again. No one hurts my sister, you got that? Ine looked at him with her trustful gaze. Ine, you'll come if anyone trouble me, right? You'll protect me? She asked softly, almost as if the words themselves were too big to say aloud. Closing parenthesis. Jungkook. Always, he replied without hesitation, his voice filled with conviction. Jungkook, no one will hurt you as long as I'm around. I'll always protect you, Ina. That's Oppa's promise. Her small face slowly shines with the calm as her eyes closed against. But her hands, which had been clutching his shirt, relaxed. She looked back at him, her lips curling just slightly at the corners. Ynie. Thank you, Oppa, she whispered, the first real smile he had seen from her in days, tugging at the corners of her lips. It wasn't much, but it was enough. Enough to make Jungkook's heart soar with warmth and pride. He gave her a soft, affectionate smile, one that showed his growing love for her, his sister, his responsibility, his world. Jungkook, you don't need to thank me, princess, he said, his voice soft. Jungkook, you're my heartbeat and I'll always take care of you. You're important to me. More than anything. Ynie nodded, a soft breath escaping her lips. Ynie. I know, Oppa, she said softly as she is now close to sleep, then added quietly, Ynie. I'm lucky to have you as my Oppa. Jungkook's smile widened at her words and he felt a warmth spread through him, a feeling that made him want to keep her close, keep her safe forever. Jungkook, me too, princess, he said, his voice thick with emotion. He pulled her softly, patting her back. Jungkook, I'm glad you're my princess too. Jungkook, get some rest now, he said gently, smoothing the blanket over her shoulders. Jungkook, big day tomorrow. You need to be ready. Ynie nodded, but she didn't seem to want to move. Jungkook softly pulled the duvet over them, kissed her head softly, and she sighed in relief. Both slept holding each other closer. The early morning sun filtered through the soft white curtains, painting golden patterns on the floor of the nursery room where Innie sat quietly on a stool. Her tiny fingers clutched the hem of her light blue dress nervously, as she stole glances at Jungkook in the mirror. Chun Jungkook, the once feared Mafia king, was crouched behind her, tongue slightly between his lips in concentration, as he clumsily twisted her silky black hair into braids. His large hands, calloused from years of violence, trembled slightly with the gentleness he was forcing himself to learn. Ynie giggled softly, seeing her curious and concentrated face. In front of mirror. Jungkook, I think I'm doing this wrong, Jungkook mumbled, peering at the braid like dot. It was an unsolvable puzzle. Innie giggled softly, a rare sound that made Jungkook's heart swell. Jungkook, did I pull too hard? He asked immediately, concern flashing in his dark eyes. Ynie shook her head, eyes sparkling. Innie, no, Oppa, it's okay. He exhaled in relief. Jungkook, you have to tell me if I do something wrong, okay? Promise? His voice was as soft as the morning breeze, and he leaned in to kiss the crown of her head. Jungkook, Oppa's still learning how to be a good big brother. She nodded shyly. Innie, okay, but you are the best big brother. Jungkook smiled widely as he saw how she became comfortable and confident. Jungkook, you know, he said, fingers resuming their gentle weaving. Jungkook, when I was little, I never went to school like other kids. I was always in training. His voice faltered for a second before he quickly added. Jungkook, but I always dreamed of it. School. Friends, recess. I want you to have all that. Innie's eyes widened slightly. Ynie, friends? Jungkook smiled, catching her eyes in the mirror. Jungkook, yes. Friends who laugh with you. Teachers who teach you. And maybe even people. Who share their lunch. Her lips quirked into a small smile. Ynie, will you come too? The question nearly broke him. He knelt beside her, brushing back a loose strand. Jungkook, I can't come to school, sweetheart, he said softly. Jungkook, but I'll be right here when you come home. Always. Her fingers reached out to touch his sleeve. Innie, and if someone mean comes? Jungkook's expression darkened protectively, before he softened for her. Jungkook, then you tell me, he whispered. Jungkook, tell Oppa everything. I'll take care of it. No one will ever hurt you again. Ini leaned her tiny head against his chest, and he wrapped his arms around her delicately, as though she were made of glass. They stayed like that for a moment, her breathing calm, his heart full. Jungkook, do you feel scared? He asked gently after a moment. She nodded timidly. Ynie. A little. Jungkook smiled against her hair. Jungkook, that's okay. It's okay to be scared. But you're braver than you think. And you're not alone anymore. She pulled back slightly, looking into his eyes. Ini, you pinky promise. With a laugh, Jungkook lifted her tiny finger and wrapped his pinky around it. Jungkook, I pinky promise. He vowed with all the sincerity in the world. Her laughter soft, genuine filled the room. For the first time in forever, her eyes sparkled without fear. Jungkook stood and held out his hand. Jungkook, ready? She nodded, her tiny hand slipping into his. And together, they walked out of the room. One small girl with braids and a heart full of cautious hope, and one reformed Mafia king who would cross oceans and burn kingdoms just to see her smile. The world outside was waiting, but for now, in this precious moment, it was just them. Big brother, little sister. And a bond stronger than any past darkness. The morning sunlight streamed through the Chun Mansion's tall windows, casting golden warmth on the marble floors. But in the kitchen, peace was the last thing reigning. Cuga. Yeah. If you two don't sit still, I swear, I'm going to throw this entire pan out the window. Yoongi growled, his eyes narrowed as he tried, desperately to flip pancakes without getting jostled by the bouncing energy in the room. Jungkook, perched lazily on the countertop. With his legs swinging like a child, let out a dramatic gasp. Jungkook, Hyung, violence so early? With children present. Beside him, little Ini clung to his arm, her laughter ringing like bells. Ini, Suga Oppa is grumpy. Grumpy cat. Yoongi shot a death glare over his shoulder, spatula in hand. Suga. I am not grumpy. I'm civilized. Unlike you two circus monkeys. Jungkook placed a hand over his chest, feigning heartbreak. Jungkook, Ina, did you hear that? He called us monkeys. She giggled harder, her tiny hands clapping, as she swayed side to side. Ynie. We are monkeys, Oppa. Ooh, ah. Yoongi groaned, flipping another pancake with unnecessary aggression. Suga, I can hear my IQ dropping, he muttered, pouring more batter into the pan. While side-eyeing the duo wreaking havoc behind him.
Any Jungkook, Suga both sang, then burst into giggles when Yoongi shot her mockler. Suga, where is Hyung? And up he raised his brows. Jungkook snorted. Jungkook, just give up. Hyung, you're Uncle Suga forever now. Yoongi exhaled loudly and stacked the golden pancakes on a plate. Suga, all right. Sit, both of you, before I burn something.
Jungkook hopped off the counter dramatically, scooping Innie up and spinning her once before settling her into the chair. Jungkook, breakfast is served, princess, he announced grandly, pulling the chair for her like a royal attendant. Yoongi rolled his eyes, but placed her plate in front of her with care. Suga, here you go, little monkey. And try not to drown it in syrup this time. He gave him a toothy grin. Innie, thank you, Suga oppa. As they dug in, the room filled with chatter and laughter. Innie carefully cut her pancakes into tiny pieces, her eyes flickering between Jungkook and Yoongi as they bickered light-heartedly. Jungkook, Hyung, I think you forgot her lunch, he teased with a mouthful of pancake. Motioning towards the counter, Yoongi shot him a withering look. Suga, I did not forget. Unlike you, I plan ahead. He reached over and grabbed a pastel pink lunchbox, decorated with cartoon bunnies. Ynie clapped her hands excitedly. Innie, my lunchbox. Jungkook raised an eyebrow, teasing. Jungkook, Hyung, pink? Really? Yoongi shrugged. Suga, she likes bunnies. Deal with it. Innie saw as Suga didn't give any lunchbox to Jungkook. She gasped. Ynie. No lunch? Jungkook nodded, sighing dramatically. Jungkook, only dreams and sometimes old bread. Innie's eyes widened. Ynie. That's so sad, oppa. Yoongi chuckled softly without turning. Suga, don't let him fool you, Innie. He probably just forgot his lunch half the time. Jungkook grinned. Jungkook, that too. Suddenly, Innie reached across the table and touched Jungkook's hand. Innie, I will share my lunch with you, oppa. Always. Jungkook froze for a moment, his heart swelling. He smiled gently, brushing her hair back. Jungkook, thank you, baby. But from now on, you'll never miss a single thing. Oppa promises. Yoongi's hands paused briefly before he continued packing. Cga. Sap, he murmured, though the corners of his mouth twitched upwards. The laughter carried on as the chaos slowly settled. Innie finished the last of her pancakes while Yoongi packed the final touches into her lunchbox. A note with a tiny bunny doodle that simply read, "Have a good day, Innie." As they stood by the door, Jungkook hoisted Ynie onto his back, making airplane noises while she giggled breathlessly. Jungkook, ready for school, princess? Innie nodded eagerly. Innie, ready. Yoongi handed the lunchbox over, his expression soft but his voice gruff. Yoongi, don't let her out of your sight. And don't let her eat junk. Jungkook grinned. Jungkook, yes, Hyung. As they stepped out into the morning sun, Yoongi watched them for a moment longer before shaking his head with a fond exhale. Suga. Hopeless, he murmured, but the warmth in his eyes remained long after the door clicked shut. And inside the once quiet mansion, the sound of laughter still echoed.